Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I recently made a community post where I asked if some of you wanted a reaction to this streaming made by Nordic Game about Johan speaking about their game, just like Odo did, and I felt like I wanted to, to let you know my opinion as well. So let's go, I suppose. Alright guys, before getting into the video with no breaks, I'd like to take a few seconds to talk about our new sponsor, Chad Computers. Love the name, by the way. I'd buy a PC from them just because of it. Jokes aside, I'd like to show you a special offer, the Firebat T6A-X gaming laptop. You can see the specs right now on screen. It has an RTX 4060 with 8 gigs of VRAM. Honestly, the standard GPU for getting your first laptop. 16.1 inches monitor with 240 Hz refresh rate, and an AMD R7 7435H CPU with 8 cores and 16 threads, and can clock itself up to 4.5 GHz. AMD CPUs have been on the better end lately, so this is just a plus. You also get 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM at 4800 clock speed, and in the bundle you will also be able to get a $60 Steam game. And not gonna lie, Black Myth Wukong, which just came out, will be the perfect pick for me. You can get this product via my affiliate link, you can find it in the description. Many thanks to Chat Computers for sponsoring this video. Now back to the video.
So many of you already know that my name is Johan Pilestedt. I'm the Chief Creative, Founder and CEO, or well, I used to be the CEO since I hired Shamsi Rani to take that role. So not CEO anymore, but I am on Twitter. So you can follow me there, or X, but yeah. Always growing my reach. Okay, so I'm going to do a talk with you today that is appropriately clickbait titled, You Won't Believe This Actually Happened, and neither do we. To start this, I think that we need to look at what Arrowhead is as an organization and really go into the Arrowhead game design philosophy. It'll make
Okay, Arrowhead philosophy. Their philosophy, how they want the game to be.
Sense towards the back end of this. And of course, we have to index from zero. I assume half the audience will agree. But when Arrowhead makes games, we have a tendency to put things into perspective through references, analogies, and various bizarre ways of describing things. So I want to pose to you guys a question, and just think about this. What is the best car in the entire world? Right? If you have a car in mind, just think about that car. It's like that's the best car in the world. And then ask yourself, is this car suitable to all?
With this, he's trying to make the point, a game for everyone is a game for no one, okay? This is the point he's trying to make.
All of these 5 groups of individuals. The family going on a family trip, the soldier going off to war, the racer trying to win the next GP, the miner who needs to carry heavy loads, or the rich guy. Well, I don't know what the rich guy's good at. Drive cars, I guess. So, and I hope this will start making sense. I actually used state-of-the-art neural network generative rendering technologies and advanced prompt writing to figure out what the best car in the entire world is. Mm-hmm. So I used AI, I used Midjourney to figure this out. And this is, according to AI, what the best car is.
So basically a fucking Ferrari equipped with guns, okay, or yeah, a supercar or even a truck at this point. Using AI. Yeah, okay, I get it now. Yeah, the one in the middle makes sense because it can fit a lot of people. You can have guns on it, albeit too much guns, I have to say. And I guess it's super fast and such, but yeah, it's AI.
We got 3 options that are suitable for all of these professions. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Each car fills a specific purpose. When each of the individuals have the appropriate vehicle,
if I was a rich guy, I wouldn't buy a supercar. I would buy a car that looks good rather than a car that is super expensive and super fast. For example, my favorite car is the Pontiac Firebird from 1979, the one you can see in Kill Bill. That's one of my favorite cars, and I don't think it's a rich guy car. It's an old toy, and Yeah, that's pretty much it.
They'll be much happier. So, therefore, a car for everyone is a car for no one. And those of you that follow Arrowhead know that our studio motto is, of course, a game for everyone is a game for no one.
Right.
And that is our creed that we live by. And digging a little bit deeper into this, what does this statement actually mean? Well, you can ask Ghost-Style. He thinks, I think they mean if you try to cater for absolutely everyone, you create a pile of crap. And this is exactly what we do as an organization. Well,
be careful saying that. He's gonna correct himself in a second, but that is close to becoming real, Johan. Be careful.
But not create crap. but we focus it. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, we know what you mean.
Okay, we aim only to serve our fans. That is the core of Arrowhead's business. We only make games, and we only make it for a certain group of players. And those players are experienced social nerds. Experienced meaning that they played a lot of titles. They're hard to impress, they have vast knowledge, and they have a sensitive palette. Social, that they see gaming as a social activity that you do with friends to deep.
Speaking of fans, the current CEO spoke about the type of players they want to make happy. Like on one side you have the dads like himself that play 3 hours a week, okay, and then you have the nerds, the gamers like me, like you guys that maybe are watching that play maybe every day to have some fun. The thing is, the thing I want to say about this is, like, both us gamers, hardcore gamers, and the fucking 3-hour gameplay dads, I believe both of these players, we do not enjoy being expendable pieces of trash, okay? Being insta-killed, ragdolled all over the place is not fun. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if after 10 minutes of gameplay like this, your 3-hour gameplay dad would just straight up turn off the PlayStation and go do something else, okay? Like you need to think, what is fun for me, like you as a developer, playing your dream game that you made. Is it fun to get ragdolled all over the place by an enemy with tentacles that you can't even see where it's coming from because it doesn't make any noise. You don't know where it's attacking you. Get it? Okay, this was a small side note because I wanted to say about this too, but even though it isn't mentioned in the video, but you get the idea.
Deepen the relationship between you and whoever you're playing with. And they also decide what they're going to play based on what their friends are playing and if they can get their friends to play it. And lastly, nerds. I think we know something about nerds. And they really care about their entertainment. They really care about whatever they're fans of. I mean, I'm a huge Warhammer nerd. I care deeply when Games Workshop announces some bullshit. Or when they do something awesome, I care equally much in the other direction, which is a double-edged sword, as we have come to realize. But nerds are generally emotionally attached to whatever they put their interest in.
Of course, as gamers or nerds, like he likes to call us, we are emotionally attached to our games. Okay.
And I think it's worth remembering that if an X-Wing doesn't fly the way that it should, or the rate of fire of the TIE fighter isn't correct, I'm going to be pissed. We collectively at Arrowhead call these connoisseurs of gaming, and that is key to our target audience. We make games for connoisseurs, experienced social nerds. And why this is important is that we know that connoisseurs, they are the ones that drive players to play together. So our core fans search for new game experiences, something that is different enough that they haven't, something that's new to what they played before, where they can use their good judgment, their sensitive palette, to recommend games to their friends and say, hey, I played this game, you guys should buy it as well.
And this is exactly what Helldivers 2 was upon release. When I started playing, like I wasn't expecting much. Like I didn't even heard this game was out, but like as I was playing other games, I noticed half of my friend list kept starting Helldivers 2. On the bottom right, there's the Steam icon. This guy started playing Helldivers 2. He started playing Helldivers 2. Okay, then let me fucking check Helldivers 2. I check, and I'm like, holy fuck, this game is a banger. I asked to my girlfriend to buy it to me, which thank you, honey, and I fucking fell in love with it. Okay, like the moment I started playing, like I was so lucky that when I started playing, it was late at night and I could get in, because when I bought the game, there was still the server problem. Like, and in fact, I was disappointed the day later when I tried to play, and I was met with the fucking screen that told me that the servers are at capacity. My ass is at capacity. Anyway, let's move on.
And then we'll have a great time together. And their credibility is on the line, so we better not F it up. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So, what does this mean then for us? Well, our journey is long in time, but not that many games released. Mostly because of, well, yeah, I'll get to that. But we, of course, started our career with Magicka through Showdown, Gauntlet, Helldivers, and Helldivers 2. And we have had varying degrees of success, but the more we stick to our guns and focus on our core values, the better our games perform. So, finally getting to chapter 1, making of Helldivers 2. So, Helldivers 2 was originally envisioned, this is the original hypothesis, is that Helldivers is a co-op action shooter where you play as the evil guys in the galaxy, so your stormtroopers or whatever it might be in pop culture. And how would you fare as one of the extras in the background? Like, you know, when they try to breach the cell block in Star Wars, and the first stormtrooper through the door, he of course gets shot in the chest by Han Solo. And that's the question of, would you do better climbing into that room trying to capture the bad guys?
Maybe, because now you are really comparing us to something that has to fight against a character that has plot armor. Like if you are comparing us to stormtroopers against something that has plot armor, of course we are not gonna make it. It's scripted to go that way, right? So, like, why do you want to make a game where we are the guys that suck? Like, why do our enemies, do they need to have plot armor? I don't think so, but neither do we. Okay, so but this doesn't mean that not having plot armor means that our weapons should suck. Okay, like not having plot armor means that sure, I could get insta-killed by some random rocket coming at me. All right, sure, that's fine. That can happen if maybe if I'm not using the armor with explosion resistance. Like we have, like you can't say I'm an expendable soldier and then give me bonuses that protect me from deaths like that. Okay, that doesn't make a that doesn't make a fucking sense. All right, but I'm not done with this. Let's move on.
That are trying to take over your lovely Death Star. They should have realized that Death Star is... we can get into that later. And then also, would you be able to survive in a galactic war without plot armor to protect you? It's really the question that we ask with Helldivers.
Maybe. Again, maybe. Let's take an example. General Brash, okay? General Brash. There's his name and there's his rank next to him. General, okay? Like, let's make let's suppose one thing. General Brash, he once was a cadet. He started like everyone else, but he made his way through the ranks by being a good performing soldier and became a general giving tips to the new recruits, okay? This is how it should work, all right? Move on, let's move on.
And this then turned into the original vision for Helldivers, which is that we wanted to do as realistic of a take on what it would be to be in one of those squads of stormtroopers or starship troopers, mobile infantry, or whatever pop culture grunts that you can imagine. in an unforgiving galactic resource war, where players together complete operations against alien foes. And this is just the core of what Helldivers is. And of course, if you take this and give it to a number of developers, everyone will make their own interpretation of this. So there is something more that goes into, of course, making an Arrowhead game. But in 2015, Helldivers 1 was released, and we got asked if we wanted to do a sequel to Helldivers. And we said, yeah, I think that sounds like a lot of fun, because it will be easy. We already know the game, and just transitioning it to Helldivers 2. Could probably do that in 4 years, or actually we started in 2016, so it would have been 3 years approximately.
Talking about this, they started developing in 2016, just like you said, and it's unfortunate that they started on an engine that then got discontinued. And I understand that for a small indie studio like them, porting the game to another engine, it probably would have been a lot more resource costing than just keep going on this discontinued engine. My only take on this is that as they move on, because now they have the money, okay, they 12 million copies, and some of them sure, some of them got refunded. We'll talk about the whole Sony thing later, but now that they have the resources, with time they should like take a small team of developers, pay them to port the game to Unity or another engine, okay, something like that.
Approximately. Yeah, this is wrong. That's an incorrect assumption that taking Helldivers and making it to Helldivers 2 would be an easy task. These numbers mean a lot to me. This is the number of years, the number of months, and the number of days it took us to make Helldivers 2, which is quite some time, especially considering that we estimated that we would land somewhere around 3 years to create this game. So, with that, how can we take a game that was supposed to be in development for 3 years and almost end up at 8? And how did we manage to survive during that time? Well, that's why I'm here to tell you, I hope. Cool. So, apparently game development is hard, so they say. The reason why game development is hard is that it's not a straight line. Like, it's not like...
It's funny because, yes, game development is hard, but the games keep releasing unfinished and in broken states, especially AAA games. Like, bro.
You start off, make a brilliant design document, make a production plan, and then just execute, and then eventually you're done with great estimates to go along with it. I mean, you'll finish something, but since quality and player value is the keys to success in making video games, it is iterative. You have to change your mind. You have to try things and evolve things. And a lot of times you try different things and come back to the original design, because that was clearly the best one. So you're going full circle, and at that point it's like, what was the time spent for? Well, it was valuable because we realized something that we didn't realize earlier. But enough on that. So game development is hard, but there are some things that can make game development even harder, and that is one of the reasons why it took so long for us to produce Helldivers 2. The first one is that we had a pretty rapid growth. When we started working on Helldivers 1, we were around 10 people. Towards the back end of the project, we were 16. We had Gauntlet in parallel development at the same time, about the same size of team. And when we started Helldivers 2, the first moment, we basically put these two teams together, becoming a team of some 35 individuals. So just growing past that limit of 20 is a challenge for most organizations that are not used to it, but it's even harder when it happens immediately, like right day and date, like immediately. And with that it came a lot of problems that we didn't manage to solve. They were always lagging behind us, and we never got ahead of the issues. And this is a common theme within the development of Helldivers, that we're always trying to catch up. Furthermore, we were rather slow to understand the requirements of the organization. And part of this goes into the next point, which is that we were still retaining our small team ways of working. So small teams' ways of working is very flexible, very dynamic. We can just turn around, make a decision on the fly, everybody's aware, and then that gets executed upon. But once we grew to 35 and eventually up to 40, up to 60, up to 100, if I just turned to one of the designers and said, hey, we should change this thing, the engineer in the other side of the office didn't understand what was going on, and it creates not only chaos within the project, but it creates chaos in the working condition of the company, which then in turn leads to stress, which then in turn leads to lower productivity and so forth. It becomes a vicious cycle when these things are not dealt with.
I mean, not gonna lie, guys, your last update, Escalation of Freedom, seemed something like this. Even yourself, Johan, you were in the fucking trailer that hyped up this update so fucking much, and there was close to nothing in it. What? 2, 3 enemies? 4 enemies? 2 buildings? Okay, and more ragdoll, and you decided to waste money on making a trailer to hype this update up when most of the people of your team was on vacation. Like bro, who, like, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you recorded that trailer some time ago, and some genius in the team decided to release it early. Maybe this update was scheduled to release in a month from now or 2. Like, is there someone trying to sabotage your own team, your own game inside your team? Like really, it's really got me confused. How can you mess up something after so many months of getting slapped in the face by the community for doing shit wrong?
Appropriately. And the reason why we didn't change this for such a long time is that we had this idea that we wanted to remain indie, we wanted to remain non-corporate and so forth, which is fair, like especially if you look at very large organization where politics take over, that we don't want to be that. We want to be a hang out on the terrace and have a beer kind of company. But these are not mutually exclusive. Organizational structure, processes, proper planning, they are not in opposition to those things. They actually help ensure that we can retain that.
And that's what made Helldivers 2 so great. Like, everybody role plays as a Helldiver for democracy, for Superherd. Like, yeah, sure, you got some people get offended by the politics in the game, but who the fuck cares? We want to have fun. Like, and sure, it's a meme. It's funny, like for Super Earth and such. There's even lore part that show how we are the bad guys. Super Earth is the bad guys, and they treat us like garbage. We are worth less than garbage to Super Earth. It all revolves around, well, I guess money, or I don't know, but you get it.
Eventually, when it goes too far, you'll get a pendulum swing where everything needs to be processized, everything needs to have clear, super organized structure, etc., and all the communication path lines are to be adhered in detail. Luckily, over time, we managed to overcome this, and we are still overcoming it. But these are consequences. Like if you're in the state where we were, growing an organization, pay heed and do this job properly. Otherwise, you'll regret it in like 5 years later or 2 years later. Okay. And lastly, the small team ways of working does not have gates. There's no way to say, yeah, we're done with the prototype, therefore let's bring on more people. Instead, it's just an organic, like, well, maybe we add a vehicle, maybe we do something cool today. And what happens is that you're left with so much design, technical, and art debt, which is manageable by a small team because you can keep a ledger in your head of everything that's not finished. But whereas a large team, it just evolves into a Jira that's full packed of things that are in progress or half done. If even. Sometimes people are like, oh, wait, there's 100 undocumented tasks that we also need to complete before we ship the game. Which is incidentally also how you get to 7 years, 11 days, and 26 months. 26 days, goddammit. Okay. And lastly, we had moving targets. And moving targets it's such a pitfall that's easy to fall into. So in one of the reasons why we extended the project was that we made a really, really nice prototype of the game. And we agreed together with PlayStation that, you know what? If we just double the budget, it will be even better. And being the greedy capitalist that I am, I of course said, yes, let's do that.
They took a risk, and it paid well. They gave them more budget, and they pulled out an incredible game.
That sounds wonderful. And then many more decisions like that were made based on something that seemed good, but the proper consequences were not taken into consideration, what that means for building the game and the organization. And we had this mentality from being a small studio where we basically said yes to any challenge because we knew that we could do it. But the problem is that suddenly when you can't do it anymore, that starts biting you in the ass. And of course we had the normal things, scope growth, change in business model, changed it back, we're a little bit flaky on it. We had bigger opportunities come our way, and we were like, yeah, let's do that. And also, Stingray or Autodesk decided to stop production of the engine that we're using. And we're like, can we build it ourselves? Yes. Should we? Well, that's actually a question nobody asked. So, yeah, we can build it. And
so they decided to expand and keep maintaining the engine. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And okay, well, sure.
But there's opportunity cost. But all of this caused us to fall behind. We got a new, we set a new deadline. We increased the scope. We're still behind. We never stopped to catch up. And you know, it's kind of like when you're out running with a friend who's fit, and you sort of jog along. The friend stops, and they wait, and then when you catch up to them, they start jogging again. So you never get to catch your breath. And it always felt like that. We're always seeing the back of where we should have been. Cool, but these are pretty much like the key issues that we had during production. But still, 12 million copies sold, like so many positive reviews. And, well, we used to have very positive reviews. But what made it work, right? Because this seems like it wouldn't work. And I think this is the key to an even more important thing.
You know what made it work, Johan? It was fun. Nothing else. It was fun.
When it comes to an organization, and this is from my personal perspective, there's many people that disagree and so forth. But it is grit, camaraderie, and compassion. Grit in being able to stay with it and say, you know what, we are doing this. We're not abandoning it. Quitting is not in the cards, like it's not on the table. So therefore, I know that since we're not going to quit, we just have to do it, and we just have to figure out a way to do it. Ideally in a smart way, but if not in a smart way, in a hard way. The camaraderie is the fundament that allows you to have grit. Like without the camaraderie and support that you have for each other in an organization, there's no way that you're going to be able to push yourself if you don't trust the person that's next to you. And camaraderie, to me, involves both, but primarily the heart trust for somebody else. Like I know.
Of course, it's what made Deep Rock Galactic the game that it is today. For Rock and Stone, for Super Heart, My life for Rock and Stone. That's a quote that is a reference to Helldivers 2 in DRG. And like a simple shout by pressing V can unite 4 players so fucking much in a game. Okay? And that just works. Of course it does. We enjoy playing co-op. Co-op is fun.
That this person wants to do well, even though they might oversleep or whatever it might be. But I know this person is in it together with me. And lastly, compassion. And it's not compassion for each other, well, it is as well, but it's compassion to the end user, to the gamer, that we want to deliver something that's so fantastic for this person, where they laugh, have a great time with their friends. And that is the reason why we get up in the morning. Every day, we think of those gamers eventually at the end of the...
Nice. I'm happy about this. I mean, this is what should be normal, right? It should be normal.
Road that maybe going through a hard time, and when they can play our game, maybe that gives them solace in a moment that might otherwise be hard. Cool. But there's other things. Just purely technical, like looking at the production of the game, we had some things that were immovable, that we always strive to do. And that is the focus that we had on the core of the game, for the core of the game experience. The first thing that we knew is that we wanted to create a hobby. And a hobby requires a sort of game that has a never-ending system with a lot of skill building required, a knowledge-rich environment where there's more things to figure out than what is taught in the tutorial, which we made a point out of in.
And of course, this is amazing. It's good. It's something that both Deep Rock Galactic and this game have. The tutorial just teaches you the basics, but there is so much shit to learn as you play. Okay? The first thing that happened when I played this game, I spawned against the automatons because, okay, I was a dumbass. I didn't know how to read the galactic map. I spawned against automatons. You know what happened in the first 5 seconds of gameplay? I walked onto a landmine and just died instantly. I was like, okay, well, that happened. I respawned and I started destroying those mines. Actually, I spawned and I located that mine and I was like, well, I wonder if I can just destroy it. I shot that mine and it exploded. I learned something new in the first 5 seconds of an actual mission. That's how it is, and it is amazing. It feels good. It's what keeps you playing a game. If there's something new I missed? I can improve myself, my skill. Okay, but let's move on.
In Helldivers. And it also needs to be multidimensional. There must be many ways of interacting with the experience for it to be considered a hobby. Like, for instance, if I play golf, it's not about going on the course and playing golf in the regular way. I can go to a range and smack a ball, and that flies off, and that's fun. I can play various forms of golf, or I could peruse the online catalog of golf clubs. So it's a multifaceted approach that is required to create a hobby. We also knew that we wanted to make a game that lets and forces the players to be creative. And when we talk about creativity in the games industry, we...
Yes, but then you removed this, okay? You removed the ability to land with our helipods wherever we wanted. And to this day, our beacons bounce off of, well, a hitbox that isn't designed for it, okay? Like, it would be so amazing if I just could land on top of a mountain and call down my autocannon. But no, you cannot do that because you suck. Like, you can't, because it's not polished enough, I suppose. And on top of this, like, the ledge grabbing system is very poorly optimized. Like, sometimes you just don't grab ledges. You could grab them if, like, you were there as that person. You can jump like what, a few inches from the ground and hold onto the ledge and then pull yourself up with your arms. That would be normal for a helldiver that is trained for these kind of situations, but nope. Only certain ledges are designed for you to grab onto them. And this is the same thing Odo said in his own video, and I'm repeating it because, of course, we both agree with each other, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's how it should work.
Generally attributed to things like Minecraft, Roblox, and so forth. But creativity also exists in action games. And it's the creativity of coming up with solutions at a moment's notice. And to allow for creativity, you need to have game mechanics that are complex. They need to be consistent. And players need to have the freedom to do what they want within a system. And with that, you'll be able to...
We have freedom until you nerf our weapons, right?
See crazy plays that players do, and that is a form of creativity that's dear to us.
And that is obvious. Like, you want to when you play Helldivers 2, you want to do crazy plays, okay? You want to throw a 500 kg, kill 2 Bile Titans with it, okay, and then kill the rest of the horde with your flamethrower. But what's gonna happen in the end? In the end, that 500 kg is gonna blow up and deal probably 0 damage to those Bile Titans. And your flamethrower is gonna look like a fucking gas can spray with a you get what I mean? Like, I don't know the name in English, but yeah, that thing you use, the lighter, yeah, lighter in front of it, like that.
We knew that the game needed to be something where you can feel strongly.
Feel strongly, huh? Okay, that is a little contradicting, isn't it?
Key to this is like the dynamic tension, emotional peaks and valleys, and so forth. And lastly, of course, we need to do this together with other players. And in that...
Okay, yeah. But still... Okay. Let's see what he has to say.
We have a strong fundamental core of what the game needs to achieve and what it needs to be. On top of that, we also have our design pillars, which is that we put the fantasy first. And what we mean by fantasy first is that...
Oh, it's gonna be good. This is gonna be good.
If we say that you're supposed to be a mobile infantry grunt in the Starship Troopers, we need to ensure that it feels like being the mobile infantry grunt in Starship Troopers. So it means that we have constraints set already. Can a Starship Troopers mobile infantry jump 2 meters up into the air? No, they cannot. Not in the movies, at least, and not without assistance.
And we can't either, like, only with a jump pack, I suppose, but it's a jump pack. We can't normally jump up into the air. You know what we can do, however? We can get ragdolled thousands of meters into the air because, well, the hitbox of a dead charger just we just dared to walk onto it. It's a corpse. But yeah, I guess.
In that case, we'd have to adhere to that. Ensure that we keep the fantasy safe throughout the entire journey and not compromise on it when things get tough. Sociality, a massively important topic for us, which is the ability for players to relate to the game, not only when they're playing the game, but outside of it. I want to be able to think about the game when I'm not playing it. I want to be able to interact online about the game.
And that's okay. That's what we do. Just hit the memes and all those things, the videos and such.
And to achieve that, we need to have the complexity and we need to have something that's worth talking about. When we make games, we always focus on believability. And believability is hard to quantify, but my best explanation for this is, if you remember in Game of Thrones, where the dragons are attacking King's Landing, Queen's Landing? What? Fake fan. Anywho, and this guy gets on the ballista and decides to shoot down one of these dragons. I mean, the problem isn't that there's dragons in Game of Thrones. That is within the realm of believability of what's established within the show. But that this guy managed to snipe a dragon 1,000 meters away with a large crossbow with no sights. That really gets to me. Like, is that really believable?
Yes, that is believable. Let me tell you one thing, Johan. Like, we are, like, as humans, we can train our brains, all right, to do certain things, okay? Like, for example, if this guy, like, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. Sorry, I know I'm gonna get like burned into the comments because of this, but like, if I know that my crossbow, huge ass crossbow, has even though it has no sight, if I know it has enough power to make my bolt get over there to that dragon, if I know the velocity of my fucking dart, okay, and if I know how to compensate with the gravity of my fucking planet, then yes, it is fucking possible to hit a fucking dragon on the other side of the sky. I don't know whatever he's talking about, okay? It's the same thing when in the game I take a grenade launcher and I aim upwards to compensate for the slowness of the projectile to make it land wherever the fuck I want. That is studying how the physics works on the weapon I'm using. So yes, it is possible, okay? And of course, maybe this guy was lucky to kill this dragon in the first shot. But okay, but you know what would be realistic? You fire once, you calculate roughly by seeing what happens, you calculate how much gravity has effect on your bolt, how straight it flies, how fast it flies, and compensate afterwards when you load the next one. Okay? Of course, it's a movie or a series. It has to be badass. They do it on purpose. But what I'm telling you is that with a bit of practice, it is possible to do. Okay? Let's move on.
And the same thing goes in Lord of the Rings, where the troll stabs Frodo, but he survives due to the mithril jacket.
And here we are back at the thing he doesn't like. He doesn't like the plot armor because of course Frodo, he is the main character. He doesn't like plot armor. Of course, he can't die just yet if the movie is not over. Of course, there has to be something that prevents that. Okay? And he doesn't like this. But this doesn't mean that our weapons should suck because we don't have plot armor. And neither should our enemies. Okay? But our enemies do have plot armor. Look at rocket devastators. Rocket devastators have infinite rockets. Even though, when we look at the visual model, they are only supposed to have a total of 24. 12 mounted first, and 12 back up on their back, ready to shoot again. And that's a total of 24. But you can leave a rocket devastator alive, and bro is gonna just keep shooting. In my last video, where I talked about addition to the weapons, you could clearly see a rocket fired from a Scout Strider that had no rockets left. This is not right. This is not fair towards us, because if we don't have plot armor, our piece of shit's enemy shouldn't have it either. Put it in your head, Johan.
But how strong is that troll and how small is that hobbit? Isn't that mithril going to cause him to be in a hydraulic press? So believability is important for us.
Yeah, it's important. yeah. Yeah, it's important to us. It's important.
Needs to make sense within the internal consistency of the world that we built. Cool. And lastly, playfulness is that we don't take it too seriously. It is a game. It should be something that we want to relax and unwind with. Therefore,
boom, you got it. It's a game where we want to relax and unwind with. You know what doesn't help us relax and unwind? Infinite ragdolls and insta-kills. Sure, I know you guys play on difficulty 5. It's so chill. You barely get elite enemies. Of course, it's fun to mow down your enemies with the machine guns and all, but you never get overwhelmed on difficulty 5. You know what is fun for us instead? It's fun to blow things up, kill massive hordes of enemies. Why wouldn't it be realistic? Why not? Why doesn't my 500 kg, a huge ass bomb, supposed to insta-kill a Bile Titan half of the times? Why not? Why the hell not? It's a technology invented by humans, and in this game, we are in the future. Okay, we as humans, I already said it, I'm gonna repeat it. We invent the deadliest war machines, weapons you can possibly imagine, and you guys are giving us toys, Nerf guns. We won the first galactic war. Are we using outdated technology? Are you telling me this? Is this this would be a perfect excuse, not gonna lie. Yeah, guys, our guns suck, but it's guns we are using from the first galactic war, and well, our enemies evolved, but we didn't. Come on, dude. Let's be serious for a moment.
Or we don't want to try to change the world by putting in two moral cookies into the game. Instead, we poke fun at things and do proper satire. And lastly, one of the most controversial topics is that we want to be fair to gamers.
You haven't been. You haven't been fair to us. You have not been. In the last months, that is. The only time you were fair to us is when you balanced a shit ton of weapons and stratagems, but you haven't been fair to us. For the most part, you haven't.
We've made Helldivers. We've ensured that we wanted to offer extreme value because it's easier to convince your friends to join the fight if it's only $40, or in Magica's case, $10, or
I would about this game. Sorry, probably my girlfriend would about this game, but I would have asked her to buy me this game even if it was $60, because at the time I just had to see a few minutes of gameplay to know it was worth it. I saw it was fun just from a few minutes of gameplay on YouTube, and I instantly decided to pick it up. Okay, you accidentally make a banger of a game, and you are killing it. Slowly, you are killing it. Okay? It's bleeding out. You need to bandage that wound, or it's gonna die.
Helldivers case, $20. I can spend that. It's the price of 2 cups of coffee, or for the $10 one, that is, which is crazy how expensive cups of coffee are. But that's not relevant here now. We wanted to create a collaborative community. And in the fairness of this, we wanted to avoid the toxic elements, because toxicity when just enjoying an entertainment product is something that is a plague on this industry.
Toxicity is in every video game. There will be toxic players, no matter what. This is how the human brain is made. There is good people and there is bad people, and the bad people is the majority, unfortunately. Okay? You can avoid it as much as you can, but there will be trolls, griefers, clowns that ruin your game, whether it's PvP or PvE.
And therefore, we decided to never include any PvP in the game, because we want the game experience to just be somewhere where you can unwind.
Can you imagine Helldivers 2 PvP? Everybody would be rocking the fucking Plasma Punisher. Why? Because it ragdolls. It ragdolls. That's why. Like, you play players versus players, and what do you take? What do you take? The Diligence Counter Sniper, one hit to the head? Or the Plasma Punisher? Arc your shots over cover to ragdoll your enemy and stun lock him until he's dead due to splash damage. I swear to God, this is what would happen. Okay? And as secondary, probably the Grenade Pistol, same thing, splash damage, and the ragdoll AoE. Stratagems, maybe, I don't know, maybe the Airburst Rocket Launcher, because it has such a massive splash radius. Maybe the autocannon if the other players are using vehicles, or maybe the spear. But like, I'm not gonna talk more about PvP. You get the point, okay? You get the idea.
And not end up in a situation where you get bullied or harassed. We wanted to do live service right. And what we mean by that is that we focus on the service word and the live word, and not the intent that is sometimes thrown about by maybe a little bit more business-minded individuals that go like, live service, that's a good way to monetize. It's like, no, live service is a good way to keep people entertained, primarily. And lastly, and I've said this online on Twitter as well, we have to earn the right to monetize. So, and it goes into the other points, like, we need to build trust with the community in regards to the stewardship of what we're building, but also we can't charge $60 if we want the game to also have monetization. Therefore, we need to be fair to them and say, okay, we're offering a $60 title at $40. Cool. So.
And I love what he just said. Their monetization system is amazing. Like, when I started playing, I noticed a lot of players were rocking the Incendiary Breaker, the Liberator Concussive, and such. And I was like, well, why not? I just spent a few bucks. I bought myself 2,000 super credits because I wanted to have enough for the next Warbond, and bought the Warbond. And after that, I loved this game so much that I just played so much that I never had to purchase super credits ever again for real money, because I could grind them by playing well at the game. And that is so great. The fact that they allow us to grind premium currency by playing, that is one of the greatest innovations ever. Like, they didn't decide to go for the piece of shit ass loot boxes like every other game. They went for this, and it works. People love it. It fucking works. And the game is $40. Dude, it fucking works.
And all of this seems to have worked great. And maybe a little bit.
He said it. It worked too well.
Too well. So, because the question is, was it a successful launch? Well, I mean, 12 million in 12 weeks.
Yes.
Pretty heck successful. But here's an actual, real picture of the Arrowhead server room the day of launch.
Yeah, okay, this is a bit cringe, but yes, this is what happened. They weren't expecting,
cool,
as he's gonna say in a moment, they weren't expecting 1 million players to load in, especially with the servers being crossplay from both PC and PlayStation 5. Okay, and it took them like what, a couple of weeks to, yeah, probably 2-3 weeks to buy more servers. But yes, this is fine. Like I left a negative review because of this at the beginning. But I knew that they were doing their best. Like, I wasn't too pissed at this because they weren't expecting so much success. And this shows that they were humble. The developers were humble about their game.
And the problem with this is that we had a predicted peak concurrent user count of around 150,000 users. And the actual peak concurrent users were 750,000. And you don't have to be a genius backender to know that this is a problem. So, but how do you get out of one of those situations, right? Like, there's a big difference between these numbers. They don't add up. Well, remember this slide. It's back. So this is kind of how you solve that problem, at least for an organization like Arrowheads. Like, or rather, the foundation that we had in the grit, camaraderie, and compassion really allowed us to go through this journey together again. And to organize this, we actually created something that's called that we call the War Room, where we gathered all the most instrumental people that could make a difference, that were constantly in touch with each other. Kind of like that small studio mentality, but more as an organizational function to remedy any of these situations. And then, of course, massive kudos to the Arrowhead backend team. They did a stellar job of being able to reach up to that target.
Where did these people go? You guys fired them? What the fuck is going on with the game now?
But yeah, at launch, the concurrency issue was not the only issue that we had. There were other fires that needed to be put out as well. But this really allowed us to be there, work accurately on things, and get really quick delivery times, or to get the delivery time down, or deployment time down. And especially working together with our QA partners that were based in America, we could make a build, test it overnight, and deploy it the day after. And that kind of rapid iteration that the War Room organized managed for us to.
They can't do this as often now because of the game being on console. If this game was PC only, they could release updates every day if they wanted. But due to the console limitations, they can't.
Sort of try to catch up to what was going on. Secondly, we have what we call the cellar. And this is, I wish this was the mastermind plan of Arrowhead all along, but maybe some of you can take this and build something off it. When you make a game for 7 years, 11 months, and 26 days, you have a lot of unfinished content that you threw away at some point. And once we went to launch, the community were screaming out for more content, more. Luckily, we could reach into the cellar and go like, well, this half-finished thing that we did 4 years ago, what if we polish that up and release that as a reward if they take this planet, and so forth.
Okay, polish that up, release the thing. Okay, it's fine, makes sense. But Arrowhead, can you tell me why the fuck the spear, a weapon that has been in the game since launch, has not been working for half a year up until the last month? Did you guys test the game? Huh? Why did the spear, a weapon that was supposedly have to be finished, did not work properly? Maybe like what did you do? Did you test this weapon in an empty room with no obstacles, just a bile titan in front of you? You saw it locks, it hits, it damages. Oh well, I'll call it a day. That's fine, it works. You need to test your weapons on field. You need. I as a tester would play entire missions with a single weapon to see how it works, to see how it interacts. You need testers. You need experienced players or experienced testers that tell you what works and what doesn't work with a weapon you want to release or you just released. Okay? You can't just just do it. Like, did you test the Impaler? Yes, probably yes, but did you test it on difficulty 10 instead of having one Helldiver against one single Impaler in an empty room with no other enemies around? Sure, I can see it. I can damage it. I can throw a fucking orbital precision strike at him, and he's gonna die. But you need to test the things in various environments, or else you will keep releasing unfinished shit, and players are just gonna get upset.
So the fortunate side effect is that we had that unfinished content. And right now, like after we know that this cellar that we have of content exists, we need to treat this.
Also, you said that you had like some of the developers work in the Swedish army or something like that. Okay, but like even a fucking kid that loves video games knows that an anti-tank mine doesn't trigger on anything that weighs enough. Okay, it's called an anti-tank mine, anti-tank, because it triggers on heavy stuff like tanks. But no, a Helldiver, what 70, 80 kilos, maybe 150 kilos with armor on, a Helldiver triggers the mine. And the best part is the anti-tank mine doesn't kill tanks and doesn't kill Hulk as fast as it should. Like then I suppose it's just a reskin of the regular anti-personal mines. That's what it is. I would bet my ass off that they just copied and pasted the same code of the anti-personal mines and put it on the anti-tank mines and call it a day. And maybe they increased the damage a bit because it's an anti-tank, it should deal more damage. I bet my ass they did that and call it a day. Like this is just getting to the limits of the ridiculousness.
Carefully, we need to restock this cellar in the future and ensure that it doesn't run out, so we can keep up with the strong cadence. On top of that, one of the strengths as well is our lovely game master, who manages to keep the community entertained with really, for us production-wise, cheap content. And the community is extremely excited by the prospect of where the galaxy is going next week, what is happening. To the point where we even had YouTubers and so forth that made actual newscasts of how the war effort is coming along. So it's a massive job from Joel and the team on being able to maintain this and keep it going week after week. And all of this amounted to, of course, like a lot of love. And one of the strengths of Helldivers as an IP is that it's so easy to get into the role-playing aspects of it. Like,
I love all the memes. I just love it.
We had so many people. I mean, the meme game of the Helldivers community is extremely strong. And for us to just throw some gasoline on that is quite easy, and people keep posting more, keep re-engaging, and it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy of growth. Like, well, we say something, community talks about it, the game grows. And this has continued to this day, which is rather interesting and an interesting behavior to see. And I guess the learning from this is that people want to be part, but they need to understand what they need to be part of or how they can be part. And our community has been an interesting bunch. Like, they started off being very, very friendly, very accepting, and very passionate. Some strong meme game and so forth. And then we taught them together to rally together and achieve great things together. And then once we had a little bit of a...
He's going to talk about Sony in a moment, but I'd like to talk about for a second about what happened on Reddit after the Railgun was nerfed. Your developers, like, they literally called players out for having skill issue because the Railgun was bad. Okay, and then they also said they were enjoying pouring fuel into the fire, feeding the rage, whatever the fuck was that? Like, bro. And then the guy deleted his account. That guy should have been fired straight up. I don't know if it was Alexus or someone else, but that guy has got to go. His ego is too much for being a developer that needs to listen to the feedback of players.
Snafu with the account linking, they all rallied. And
okay, Sony time, the account linking. Here, the thing is, the community did not get angry because of the account linking. I was fine with linking my account to a PSN account or whatever. The biggest issue here is that you guys didn't mention that the players that were living in the countries where PSN was not available would have not been able to play anymore on Helldivers 2 because PSN was not available, and they were forced to do it. And let me remind you, Sony, one day before that, changed their rules, a page that said that some games might require a PSN account linking. They changed it to that from nope, our games do not require account linking. And that was the biggest bullshit you guys got called out for. And of course, the situation is still the same. Those countries are still blocked. You can play the game from those countries, but you cannot buy the game from those countries. And I've heard that some people using a VPN got banned for this. Like, bro, are you even serious? This is what got people enraged. Okay, we gamers, we are all brothers. We want to play together, brothers and sisters. We want to play together. And the moment you cut half the population of the world away from this, not only you are shooting in yourself in the foot because, well, you don't like money apparently, right? Like, oh yeah, you either have a PSN account or fuck off. What, you don't like money? Sony? Arrowhead? You guys don't like money? No? Okay, and this is the whole Sony thing. Let's let him speak now.
A review bombed us, which is an interesting turn of events. But it is, I guess, the community that you grow is the community that you get. And I love them still for it. And it is interesting to be known as one of the most downvoted games in Steam history. Cool. Okay, so on to the last chapter. A lot of people ask, what made Helldivers 2 a smash hit?
Let me answer again for the second time. It was fun, Johan. It was fun. It was unique. And fun. It was some fresh air after that banger of DRG. It was fun.
What is the thing that you can take to your businesses, to your teams, and ensure that you manage to knock it out of the park in the same way that we did? And this is an interesting question. I've heard that people say, it's the $40 price point. That's what did it. I'm like, are you sure that is evident?
It takes part in it, but no, the price is not the only reason, obviously.
Based, because I know that there are other titles that are $40. So it can't be $40 that's the defining factor of the success of Helldivers. And really...
And DRG costs, what, $23, $25? And it's just as amazing, okay? And yes, the price tag helps, but you know what helps? Having fun when you play the game.
Everybody has their own opinion of why Helldivers managed to do what it did. Release window, it's the emergent gameplay, it's the content cadence, it's the marketing, it's the price point, it's the accessibility, it's the leadership of the studio, it's the balance, and so forth. I don't really subscribe to just thinking about it in a simplistic way like this. I think it's an abstract thought.
Did you just say the balance? You said the balance.
And there's so many hidden variables that needs to be understood to try to get to this essence of what made Helldivers as strong as it is. And really, I tried to boil this down ahead of this presentation. And like, is there a way that I can articulate this? And I did my best, but this is as well like just one point of view. Everybody has their own point of view of why it was successful. But I think that it is, in order, 3 things. Well, it's 5 things because I have 2 more slides after this, but it is the fundamentals. So the fantasy of the experience, actually delivering on it. Because a lot of people have made alien shooters before, but what we did different to them is that we really dug into the believability of what it would be to be in that game. And people say that Helldivers is the most...
Rocket Devastators shooting infinite rockets is not believable, Arrowhead, Johan. Is not believable. Okay?
Cinematic game they played, which is strange because we don't even have a single cinematic in the game. It all happens.
Oh yes, this game is absolutely so cinematic, especially when you crank the graphics up on those super powerful rigs. It looks beautiful for a discontinued engine. Like the graphic guys did an amazing job on this. Especially with the explosion. Holy fuck, seeing 2 Bile Titans die after your 500 kg comes down and you hear it. They removed that. I don't know why they removed it. It was too fun apparently, but you hear the 500 kg tickling, and then boom, a massive explosion, and you see that Bile Titan just crumble down to the ground, dying like that. That is fucking... That fuels your adrenaline when you play the game. It feels good. It feels amazing. Okay? It gives you goosebumps because it feels good.
It's based on us trying to force the fantasy of the game to play out like an action movie. This also goes into the kinesthetics of the game, the user experience, the play format, and so forth. Like having a strong fundament of what the game is supposed to be and being true to that is the first thing that you should look at in a video game. If somebody says, this is exactly like being a wizard in Harry Potter, okay, I want to know. Can I cast all the spells? Can I do all the things that I would expect? And if not, if there's artificial barriers or things that don't exist or that don't add, then it takes away from that experience. Like if I have a mana bar, I've never seen a mana bar in a Hogwarts movie about Harry Potter. Same in Star Wars. How many strikes does it take to cut somebody's hand off with a lightsaber? Right? It's one. Fundamental to adhere to the fantasy. And then, but balance is no fun. Well, yeah, fine. Balance it, but don't make it 2 strikes. I know that that's false, and now we're not making a Star Wars game anymore. Secondly, is the style of the game. And the style comes from...
The lightsaber is a melee weapon, and as a melee weapon, it should deal that kind of damage. Sure, cut a limb off, use a stem, and that limb grows back. We have the technology, we are humans in the future, why the fuck not?
From the studio mentality and philosophy. And this is deeper, it's why decisions are made at every level of the organization. Because in a single day of an organization of 100, there's probably 1,000 decisions being made.
And we also have armor. What is armor? Just a cosmetic? Armor is called armor because it protects you. Armor protects. Johan.
If you try to solve it by saying like this one decision was the thing that made it happen, I mean that can't be true. Like it's 1,000 decisions a day. How can, and what is that, like times 365? Well, assuming you work all year round, but I get times 200. Like there's so many decisions, and for there to be one single one that makes a massive impact, it's not really feasible. But what is feasible is the culture that enforces those decisions and the alignment that the team has on what is right to do in this particular moment. That is the style of the organization. And if you have a strong style that is appreciated by the community, that is something that's worth teaching to others and ensuring that it is adhered to. And for Arrowhead, it is our dumb analogies, our stupid jokes, our way of interacting with each other. We're a hugging studio, everybody hugs. The murkiness of the studio, like the velocity of this particular anti-tank round, and it's such an important topic. And people can spend an entire lunch break arguing about pop culture. Like, and I know this is common stuff to a lot of game studios, but as long as it's common to the studio, that will also go into the game, because the game is a representation of those who made it. And the last thing is the features. The feature set, and this is the one that we all talk about, right? But it is just one thing. Like, sure, we have the Galactic War, we have the Friendly Fire, and we have strategems and so forth. Like those things, yeah, sure. But those things are a result of the fundamentals and the style leading to the features. So just looking at features and saying, well, that's the feature, and if I take that into this game, then it will be the best thing ever. Which is, incidentally, also why it's so hard to do sequels on somebody else's work, because you don't have the 2 fundamental first things. Okay. So 2 more things, like the live service done right. I want to mention this because I know it's a big topic. We ask ourselves, what right does live service games have to exist in the games industry or as products? And it's easy to say, well, we'll earn more money by being able to drop a content pack here and there. It's like, yeah, but that's not a reason why any consumer would want to engage with that. The reason why live service is a good thing for the games industry, if done right, is that it is a continuous hobby that evolves and allows players to get more of the games that they love. And if you forget this when making a live service...
And that is exactly the path we want for Helldivers 2. What do we want? We want more missions. We want more weapons. We want more vehicles, more enemies, more cool stuff, more stratagems. But you don't have to destroy their... Like, it all revolves about balance lately, because the game... Like, when you make the game unbalanced, and when I say unbalanced, I mean unfair towards the player, it is not fun. And it makes me not want to play it anymore.
This game, I think that it's a... I don't want to say that that's a problem, but it is a problem. I think that it's a problem. I've decided it is a problem. It's a massive problem. Okay, and secondly, or well, thirdly, I don't know, never count on stage, right? If you want to have monetization in the game, if you think that people buying new stuff in the game, I mean, it's a fair assumption, like a lot of products work like that, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer, etc., all work by additional purchases. But don't charge $70 upfront and then ask somebody, then nickel and dime people for skins.
Good, I love this mentality.
It's like, it just is wrong.
It's wrong, and I love it. No paid DLCs costing $70. Max you're paying is $10 for more content. Okay? Per war bond, that is.
So be kind to users and do live service right. by asking yourself what is the value for the gamers in this game being live service rather than what is good for the bank account.
Yeah, the bank account.
And this one now, big brain move, community. It's kind of like comms and unity, which is exactly like, I think, to be able to foster a live service environment, ensure that you're not afraid to talk to the fans. I mean, we're all nerds, we're all gamers, we're all hobbyists, fans, and we love to interact with the creators. I mean, that's what social media is. Of course, there's assholes everywhere. 1% of the population is psychopaths, but don't...
Yes, just like I said before, there's assholes everywhere. So there's toxic players everywhere. But the thing is, like, your balance dev, Alexus, has only brought shit on himself by interacting with the community and saying shit that was extremely controversial. And he got so much hate that people started, like, indagating. I don't know if that's even a word. Anyway, they looked for his name and found out he was one of the developers of not Helldivers 2, Hello Neighbor 2, and that apparently he ruined the game. And he got all the faults because he would interact with the community and say bullshit here and there. And his name on Discord is also SES, Bringer of Balance. Like, that's the peak of bullshit there, but you get the idea.
Let that stop you from interacting with the other 99% that are not assholes, or 98. I include some regular people that are not psychopaths that are also assholes.
It's not all Alex's fault.
But be with them and enjoy the fandom. Enjoy interacting with them. And of course, sometimes people will...
And it's of every single individual, including Alexus, of course. Alexus was an asshole,
like when we force
especially like he had an arrogant tone, especially
really
after the nerf of the Raptor.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
I don't remember clearly, but he said something like,
doesn't mean that you get devalue your own brand as an organization. It just strengthens you.
When you nerf the explosion.
And is it risky? Yeah, of course it's risky.
Something. I don't remember, but like, that comment got so much hate. Okay, so this is pretty much their view on the game, but I don't know if, like, because Johan was the guy that said something that he clearly said we have been going too harsh on removing the fun, on the balance. He said it. So I don't know if at this point it's him who takes decisions, or there is someone else at the higher ups that just wants the game to be like this, wants the game to feel like we are expendable soldiers. And let me talk about this again. Even though we are expendable soldier, this doesn't mean that an expendable soldier can't grow as a soldier. Like General Brush, I started as a cadet, level 1, and I am now a level 150. I grew while playing the game. I became better. I started dying less and less, making less mistakes. You still die because there's bullshit in the game. But this doesn't mean that a random soldier, a single soldier, can't change the course of a battle with a single move. Okay? A single guy on a mech, okay? If you play a mech well, you can have, like, especially when the Patriot exosuit, yeah, that's right. When the Patriot exosuit was like this, you had so much power in your hands if you were able to conserve your ammo and shoot the right targets. And they absolutely murdered the rocket launcher because you could kill chargers and bile titans in 1 or 2 rockets. And now it's like 7 rockets for a charger and 5 rockets for a bile titan. They nerfed that because they don't like a single guy of, like, taking the lead, of, like, leading his team, protecting his team all by himself. They want us to be, I don't know, pieces of paper getting blown off by the first gush of wind that comes at us. That is just so like a ill mentality, and it destroys the game. Like, I really hope that what they said in the next 60 days we're gonna fix the game. I really hope it, because even the game design, maybe he is the guy that takes the decisions. Who knows? And like, he himself showed up we never knew there was that guy. He showed up and basically said, "Oh, sorry guys, sorry, my team made a mess. We're gonna fix it." It's like being a babysitter and taking care of a child. If unsupervised, they're gonna mess up. Okay, let's just hope they fix it, because this is starting to become unbearable.
Yeah. Is it risky? Yeah, it is risky. But if you don't take any risks, why even make games? Right? There's no point to it.
They took the risk, as I said before, and it paid off.
And risk,
at least until they started winning the game.
Is an inherent part of running an organization and running a business and making games. Of course, those shouldn't go into like the more extreme cases, but in the normal circumstances, people are decent individuals that love to interact with their heroes or the creators of the game that they love. Cool. And with that, I just want to say thank you.
Yay! Amazing, Johan.
Thank you.
You did good. You did really good.
I agree. He did good for speaking in front of people like that. I would have been hella anxious.
We have time for one question. If somebody has one question. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's do you there with the cap on. Can somebody get him a microphone, please? Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I'm curious about the question.
That guy.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say thank you for not making a free-to-play game, because that impacted so much on the economy and everything. And the other thing, as a gamer, I want to ask you one thing. Who is accountable for the 500-kilo bomb that drops under your feet rather than the enemies?
So the question of the...
Okay, this is just a stupid question. He doesn't know how Eagle drops the 500 kg. But it's fine, normal. Anyway, I'm not gonna... yeah, it's pretty much over. So that's basically it, guys. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.